Hello, all you lovely souls who revel in embracing life just as I do. This is Nirja Malik, and you are welcome into my world of I Embrace. And what do we intend to do here? We delve into the many layers and shades of my life, exploring resilience, positivity, strength, and the inherent fun and laughter that lies deep within each of us. Interludes from my own exciting and adventurous journey, my personal battles and victories that have brought forth innumerable lessons in my life. It is these learnings that I place on a golden platter with utmost humility for your personal consumption. Hello, my lovely souls, my beautiful people, my beloved ones. And what a rush of adrenaline, what a rush of love and affection, and what an all-embracing, warming feeling I get every time I address you all. And guess what? I just realized that we are together embarking on episode 13. Numbers play a very important part in our lives sometimes. Numerology, astrology. But guess what? These numbers are all made by God, aren't they? Before they came down to us. Where do we get these ideas? Where do we get these thoughts? And let me tell you that today's podcast is going to be very thought-provoking. 13. Episode 13. We are embarking on it together. The number 13. And people think that 13 is an unlucky number. People think that the worst day possible could be Friday the 13th. But darlings, guess what? I was diagnosed on Friday the 13th. And as far as I'm concerned, I think it's the luckiest day possible. It's not one that is horrific with witches and Merlins and magicians and all kinds of tantric stuff. No, I love Friday the 13th. And you'd ask me why? The day I got diagnosed? Isn't that beautiful? At least I knew where I stood. At least I got into action. God alerted me, right? By sending me signs that something is amiss, which propelled me to call up the hospital and go there. And that's when the judgment was given. 25% chances of survival, not in India, abroad. And my determined decision to live for my twins and my family. So this lady came to me and she said, I hate the 1st of January. And I said, why? Why do you hate it so much? It's a day that the whole world celebrates as the beginning of the year. New intentions, new aspirations, new ideas, new clothes, new celebrations in so many different ways. Gifting each other, gifting yourself. And she says, no, my mother was diagnosed on that day. It took me a second to stop, taken aback. And then I told her, I said, you know something? I think you would do the right thing if you celebrated twice. So she said, what? I said, yes. 1st of Jan is the new year, practically the world over. And 2, your mother was diagnosed. And we could go about it in the right way because the doctors figured it out. The correct medication was done. Surgery, chemotherapy, radiation followed suit. And she's well, fit, and right here with us to tell us that she's doing great. You know, I could see the different emotions and the different feelings flit over this girl's face, second by second, like a flash of how you make comics. Different emotions got one after the other, and then in one fleeting moment, they're put together and you can see the expressions changing one after the other. Yes. So here we are, episode 13, an important day in my life, an important episode because it talks of feeling that just as all human beings are the same and can be loved, nourished and nurtured, so all numbers are the same. And we can think of them either with foreboding or with love. I am sure that there's so many people born on Friday the 13th. And don't tell me that their parents, their relatives, their siblings don't love them for what they are and who they are. Wow. What a wonderful thing that even numbers cannot separate our feelings of love and affection. Because we are all souls bonded together, linked together. And numbers cannot separate us or do us apart. So, one fateful day, my mother was driving a car in Kunur. We have an Omni there. An Omni van is one that is a dabba, looks like a box. And when you're driving it, apart from the driving wheel and the gear, accelerator and clutch being at your feet, you have the windscreen and the framework of the car. The engine is elsewhere. Otherwise, in other cars, the engine is in front. And if there is a smash up, you can get saved. But in an Omni, the proximity of where the vehicle gets bashed up leaves very little of imagination to see how very traumatic and pressing the wounds or the impact of the accident could be. So my mother's in this lovely hilly station called Kunur in Tamil Nadu in the Nilgiris, and she's driving this Omni. And suddenly in front of her, someone comes ridiculously fast, about to veer off the side of the road and practically onto her side, which is hugging the mountainside. So to give her more space, she swerves left and the car crashes straight into the mountainside. The person realizes what's being done, quickly manages to straighten the car and zips off without a care in the world. My mother was a well-known figure and everyone came running, and she was unconscious for a bit. They took her to the hospital. My father was alerted. And this is the fantastic stuff. She was not even scratched. Yes, the impact could have shaken her, but there was no scratch. There was no hurt or wound either inner or on the outer part of her body. Yes, they went through all the x-rays and everything, and she was fine. How? When the machine was very badly affected, the vehicle was pretty smashed with the rocks. How? And then one realizes that yes, we have entities, we have our angels, we have the saints and the masters around us, and nothing short of a miracle did save her. So that brings us to the topic of healing, topic of saving, energy, miracles, and it reminds me of another incident. I lost a friend to cancer, many friends actually. But this one, nearer and dearer, knew her from 1991 onwards. And as I had delved into many modalities of healing, I approached one of my healer friends and I said, this friend of mine is no more, but can we set up a system whereby every hour, on the hour, at least one person is sending a healing so that for 24 hours she is taken care of? And readily this healer agreed. Because when we come across incidents or areas where people need our help, we just go ahead and do it without a second thought. She gathered people and made a list of 24 of us, one for every hour, and we sent her magnified healing on the hour, every hour, even after she had gone beyond this life. It happened for maybe about 13, 15 days. And suddenly this friend of mine tried to get in touch with me, the healer. And I was also thinking of her because that day my healing was not being received. How do you know that your healing is received or not? There is a warmth in the body. Your fingertips can tingle. And you know that your vibrations are going across time and space. They cannot separate anyone or anything. But my friend said the same thing. She said, it's cold. It's not going through. And within a few hours, all 24 of us came to the same conclusion. What? And then we realized that this is what souls do. This is what God ordains. The healing was not necessary anymore. She had passed, gone beyond into another realm and merged at the lotus feet of the Lord. Yes, that is what would have happened. And that is how healing takes place. Do you know, when people who do Reiki visualize, a flame on the ground. Direct the negativity into that flame to be transmuted into love and light and go back to God's source. But when magnified healing came along, one of the things was that let us not put the negativity into the flame on the floor, because eventually that goes into the Mother Earth. And we cannot burden, we cannot push so much of negativity into her. She has enough that we are making her cope with. Yes, she is a mother. That is why we call her Mother Earth. She takes everything that her children do, good or bad. She imbibes it. And her nourishing nature, her nurturing nature, never, ever stops. But how much can she be beaten, bashed up? How much does she have to deal with when the environment is so badly abused by us, humans, plastic, and so much else, gases? Yes, how much can she take? So the healing methods changed their removal of negativity, and instead of pushing it further into the Mother Earth, they started releasing it into the atmosphere beyond, into the violet ring that surrounds the earth, with the words that, may the violet fire remove or destroy the negative energy and transmute it into love and light and send it back to God's source. Everything changes, doesn't it? Supply, demand, and when the demand is that you trouble Mother Earth less, then automatically solutions come into the fore and alternative modalities of healing appear. Alternative removal of negativity comes to the fore, and that is how we release the negative energy and change it to something positive, something beautiful, something pink, something enlivening, something refreshing, something rejuvenating. That's what we do. Yes, food for thought and thought-provoking. Now, when these things happen, ideas stem forth into the mind. And there was this young boy who was diagnosed with blood cancer. Must have been all of 8. And I asked him, he was referred to me by lots of people, the doctors, the floor admins, and his mother, father, and he came to meet me. He looked exactly like a younger version of Harry Potter. Glasses and all, intellectual looks, very bright boy. And I just asked him, I said, what's happening? And he said, I have cancer. I said, okay. I have blood cancer. I said, oh, what does that mean? And he said, I have bad cells in my blood. I said, all right. So let's do something about it. So in the simplest way, I did explain what chemotherapy was. And He looked at me very alert and assimilating everything I was saying. He understood. And then I just asked him out of the blue, I said, "Hey, what do you children play with?" And he said, "Power Rangers." I didn't for the life of me know what a Power Ranger was. Talk about Superman, Batman, talk about Robin, talk about all these Spider-Man. But Power Rangers? I said, "What's that?" And he said, "There are 4 of them. They fight evil. They are good." I said, "Oh, I want to be a Power Ranger." He looked at me astounded. His mother and father raised their eyebrows. And I said, "I want to be a Power Ranger and I want a costume. But my costume has to be silver to go with my hair." Suddenly, the atmosphere changed. And he said, "I also want a costume." And I said, "What color?" He said, "Red, because blood is red." And his mother got into the act and she said, "I love green. I want a green costume." The father, not to be left behind, said, "I want a blue costume." I did not realize that the mother was an artist. Having said my piece, they went away, telling me that they'll be back on the day of his chemotherapy. And when they came back, she had these beautiful pictures of 4 of us. My figure was a little rotund, but the costume was silver. He was a tiny boy, but his was red, the mother was green, and the father blue. Now, this is how thoughts occur. What am I going to do with these? And just as we were in his room and the nurse was putting in the needle, I had a brilliant idea, because at the end of the needle was a tube which was leading into the natural saline, and there were other bottles with the chemotherapy which was going to go right into his circulatory system through an intravenous injection. And I turned to him and I said, "Listen, can we become very small?" He's looking at me startled. And I showed him the 4 pictures. I said, "Listen, 4 of us will become very small and we'll get into your blood through the chemotherapy." And now his expression changed because he's interested. His parents were looking zapped. I was totally in animated form because my imagination was running wild at something I hadn't thought of before, activated by these pictures, activated by that moment when they were finding his vein to put in the natural saline, the normal saline, before they could put in the chemotherapy. And I said, "You know what we'll do? 4 of us will become very small." And I showed him the pictures. We'll become very small and through this needle get into your bloodstream. And the Power Rangers were good people and they had weapons. So we'll get into your bloodstream and we will take these weapons and destroy all the cancer cells in your body. My God, I didn't know what came out of me. He was looking so excited because see, what do children have? Children have an imagination that can go anywhere. So he took to it like what? Fish to water? His parents took a little time to let this absorb into their minds and their thinking, because obviously as parents they were worried. When the needle goes in, will it pain his vein? How will he react? Is he going to cry? What's going to happen? What will be the side effects? Will it help him? Will he come out better than before? These side effects that they talk about, will they bother him? Their minds are obviously confused and absolutely scrambled. But here, a new idea was taking place. He wasn't even looking at the nurse, who was looking equally zapped. The needle went in beautifully. The IV started, and with it, 4 of us entered his bloodstream with weapons and started destroying those bad cancer cells. Yeah, that is how that idea came up. And not to be outdone, I've used it very frequently, turning it here, turning it there, and realizing in front of my very eyes how an idea fructifies, how the seed is sown and how it blooms into a tree or flowers, and how we can make the best use of it. I've used it again and again, and I must say very, very successfully. And now my mind is brimming with ideas to share with you on the other things that I've made up. But till then, till the next time, Godspeed, God bless, till we meet again. Goodbye, my beloved ones. Till then, God is great, always was and always will be great. Thank you. I Embrace isn't just about my journey of conquering cancer. It's about embracing life in all its entanglement and beauty. Remember, in this journey of life, you are never alone. And I need to thank you for becoming a part of this inspiring journey. Thank you for joining me today on I Embrace, and my heartfelt wishes. Stay resilient, stay positive, and most importantly, keep embracing life in all its glory.